going to be part 1 of my new blow dry series, and today we are going to learn how I rough dry my hair and prep it for styling. There are some other blow dry videos scattered throughout my channel, but I've decided to compile all of my blow dry tips into a series to make it easier for you guys to find what you need. We're going to start with the most common way that I blow dry my hair. Almost every time I blow dry my hair, I do it this way, and it is my rough dry. Now, sometimes I rough dry and I just leave it that way for the rest of the day, and other times I style my hair after my rough dry, but either way, the rough dry is the most common way that I dry my hair. It's called a rough dry because we are just going to dry it using our blow dryer and our hands and no tools to shape or style during the drying process. Obviously, if you have curly hair and you're wanting to style it curly, or wavy hair and you're wanting to style it wavy, rough drying is not going to be an option for you. Rough drying is fine for everyday wear if you have mildly wavy to straight hair, because mildly wavy hair is typically going to straighten out during this process. Like mine, my hair has a slight wave if it dries naturally, but if I rough dry it, it will blow out any texture that my hair has, although it does leave it slightly frizzy. And if you have straight hair, then obviously rough drying is also going to leave your hair straight, so it is fine to wear your hair rough dried. If your hair is really wavy or curly, the rough drying process is going to create a lot of frizz. That's not to say that you can't go about your day like that if you want to. You can, of course, do anything you want. However, if you're trying to achieve a somewhat styled look, then the rough dry probably won't be the final step for you. You will need to follow up with heat styling. But if you do have curly hair, the rough drying can be a great step 1 to dry your hair before you smooth it out or style it. It's really going to depend on your hair. But all that to say that this is what works for my hair type and my hair. It might not work for yours, but this is what works for thin, super fine hair that has little to no texture. So we're gonna start. I blow dry my hair from fairly wet. I got out of the shower about 10 minutes ago, so my hair has just been in a towel. It's still fairly wet. I leave it in a towel so it does not start to dry, because my hair will start to dry very, very quickly, and I rather it dry with the blow dryer than with the air. So I don't go in and do any brushing at this stage. I just shake the hair really, really well. And then I put in my detangling spray, leave-in conditioner, whatever I'm going in with. Sometimes I use the Miracle Creator 20 by Matrix. Today I am using the Wella Ultimate Repair leave-in spray. A leave-in detangling spray is really important for hydration, but it's also going to be important for the tangles to come out, because I don't brush my hair before I blow dry it. The tangles are going to come out when I dry them, and this will help work for most people's hair. In fact, I rarely brush my client's hair before I start to blow dry it, unless we're gonna cut it. Then obviously I do brush out any tangles before we cut it. But if we're not gonna cut it, I just go in and start blow drying with a leave-in conditioner, and those tangles do fall out. Some of the reasons your tangles might not fall out is if your hair is excessively textured, it might not. And if your hair is really damaged, the tangles might not fall out. But if your hair is relatively healthy and doesn't have a lot of natural texture, then this should work for you. You can, however, go ahead and brush your hair before you blow dry if you want to. You don't have to do it exactly the same as me. I simply choose not to brush my hair because your hair is 50% weaker when it's wet. You are more likely to cause damage by brushing through tangles in wet hair than by brushing your hair afterwards when it's dry. But of course, if drying your hair unbrushed results in matting or even worse tangles, then yeah, brush it beforehand using a detangling brush. You just have to take all this advice and make it work for your particular situation. So I'm going to blow dry, and because people always ask, this is a Dyson blow dryer, but that's not to say you have to use a Dyson blow dryer for this technique. You can use any blow dryer you have. I do suggest a nozzle for your blow dryer. If you don't use a nozzle, you're going to get more frizz and your hair going all over the place, more so than if you use a nozzle, but that's totally up to you.
I always start my blow dry by flipping my head upside down. I get right to the nape of my neck and around the perimeter of my hair, and really make sure I get my crown as well, flipping everything in the opposite direction that I want it to go. Once I've got those areas, I do usually flip my head back up and just start blowing my hair in the opposite direction that I want it to fall.
In all my talking, I completely forgot my volumizing product. No worries, we can put it in now. It doesn't matter that the hair's already started to dry. So you can add your volumizer after your hair is completely dry or when your hair starts to dry, no problem. We're using the Astro Lift by K18, but again, you don't have to use the exact same products as me. If you want a volumizing product, use a volumizing product. You don't have to use a volumizing product before you rough dry, but using the volumizing products is obviously going to give you more volume, obviously, and it will also help any post-dry styling you do hold better.
Okay, back to blow drying. With my bangs at the front, I blow dry everything forward and to each side. So both directions and forward, always making sure I'm definitely getting everywhere. You especially want to make sure all of your roots are dry all the way down to the ends.
All done, all dry. Takes me about 4 to 5 minutes for my hair to dry, start to finish. So then I'm gonna go in with my detangling brush. You can use a wet brush. This one's from Framer, so it's not Wet Brush brand, but very similar to the wet brush. Nice, flexible, gentle bristles. And just brushing out any little bit of tangles that are left. But you can see that it's really not much. It's just little tangles, kind of like what your hair would have if you haven't brushed it all day. That's it. So there we go. That is my hair rough dried. That is my pretty much almost all the time drying routine. I will show you some other ones in other videos, but this is typically how I would dry my hair and leave it. If I'm really not doing anything, I'll just leave it like this, but it is also how I dry my hair if I'm gonna then add any heat styling, whether that's my thermal brush, curls, waves, anything like that. This is how I start. I hope you found that helpful and this gave you some good ideas for how to take care of your thin, fine hair. Let me know in the comments how this works out for you or any questions you have about this technique. I would love to answer those for you and I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching today. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my other videos. Like and subscribe because it really helps me grow my channel here. Bye guys.